The piercing screech of tires tore through the night as a military jeep skidded to a halt outside the Black Panther, the city's hottest bar. From the 7th Special Ops Team, the elite of the elite, Xiang Xiaolong and 3 teammates vaulted over the roll bar amid cheers and laughter. After 3 months of brutal training in the Gobi Desert, they finally had 3 days leave. It would have been a crime not to live it to the fullest. Xiang Xiaolong was 20, sun-bronzed and powerful. Nearly 6'7", broad-shouldered, narrow-waisted, all rippling muscle. No pretty boy, but with sharp eyes, high nose, strong cheekbones, square jaw, and a lazy, teasing smile, he turned every woman's head. They were about to storm the bar when chaos erupted. Little Zhang and Bull, who had arrived earlier, were thrown out the door, groaning on the pavement. Xiang Xiaolong's team rushed to help them up. Their faces darkened. "How many?" asked Rhino, shocked. Little Zhang and Bull were supermen, handpicked for counterterrorism, assassination, rescue, VIP protection. 10 ordinary men shouldn't have touched them, yet here they were, barely able to stand. Little Zhang, eyes swollen, gasped, "Brother Long, get revenge for us." "It's bullshit." Everyone called Xiang Xiaolong Brother Long. Top marksman, freestyle fighting champion, unmatched endurance. A hero. Bull pointed at the bar. "It's the instructor from the 841st, the black-faced deity. He dared touch our ice beauty." Rage exploded. The ice beauty, Zhang Zueji, was their commander's stunning secretary. No one from another unit would lay a hand on her. Adrenaline surging, Xiang Xiaolong puffed his chest. "Help them inside. They'll watch me teach a lesson." He strode boldly into the bar. Inside, smoke hung thick, music thundered, hundreds roared. But the moment Xiang appeared, silence fell. The burly black-faced deity stood with over a dozen men in civilian clothes, leaning at the bar, flirting with sexy women. Zhang Zueji's waist was gripped tight by him. Seeing Xiang, who usually ignored her, she deliberately leaned in and kissed the man's cheek. The black-faced deity's eyes lit up. He slapped her rear twice hard. "One-on-one, or all together? Military rule. Fists only. No knives, no bottles." Xiang scanned the room. In a corner sat Zhou Xiangmei, the bar queen he'd failed to win last time, watching with a smile. Confidence soared. "Dealing with you doesn't need much effort," he said casually. "Whatever you prefer." The crowd roared, hungry for chaos. Little Zhang whispered, "Be careful. He's tough." Someone shrieked. "Someone's scared." Laughter erupted. Bull added, "The 2 behind him are champions from Huang boxing gym. They came prepared to humiliate us." Xiang had already spotted the aggressive pair. He whispered, "Stand down. I'll handle these 3 clowns alone." The black-faced deity removed his jacket, handed it to Zhang Zueji, and stepped forward. "Xiang Xiaolong, I've tolerated you long enough. Last time at Wildcat Karaoke you injured a dozen of my men. Today we settle it." Xiang signaled his 5 teammates to spread out and stepped alone to 4 paces away. Calmly he called to the bartender, "1 fresh milk. I'll need it after I school this guy." The room exploded in laughter. One of the deity's men shouted, "He'll need his mother's milk for strength." The black-faced deity fainted left, then kicked low at Xiang's shin. Xiang sidestepped. The crowd screamed. The deity closed fast, crouched, threw double punches at Xiang's chest. Xiang stepped back again. Jeers rose. The deity grew arrogant, formed a phoenix eye fist, lunged, aiming for Xiang's nose. Perfect. Xiang waited until the fist was an inch away, then threw himself backward as if blasted. The crowd went wild. He stumbled 6 steps and fell straight into the fragrant lap of Zhou Xiangmei. She screamed in surprise. The deity pounced like a tiger. Xiang stiffened, caressed her cheek, then sprang up like a cannonball, headfirst into the deity's gut. Ignoring fists hammering his back, he drove his head home. The nearly 100-kilogram man flew backward, crashing onto the dance floor. Silence fell, broken only by pounding music. Xiang pounced again. The 2 professional boxers rushed from both sides. His teammates cursed the unfairness but trusted him completely. It ended in a blink. Xiang swayed, dodged, darted between them like a leopard. Elbow to the left boxer's ribs, parry with the right hand, then two knee strikes to the right boxer's gut. As the right man crumpled, Xiang smashed a fist into the black-faced deity's nose. Blood sprayed. The deity fell backward onto Zhang Zueji, who had rushed to help. The pair tumbled in a heap. Xiang laughed loudly, pointing at the group. "Come on, all of you." His teammates pressed forward, fists ready. Zhang Zueji scrambled up, shrieking, "Xiang Xiaolong, don't get cocky. You'll pay for this." Xiang ignored her, pulled Zhou Xiangmei up, and walked straight out. She pouted. "Where are you taking me?" He lifted her into the Jeep's passenger seat. "Home. I can't afford a fancy hotel." The phone rang. Xiang woke instantly, untangled from Zhou Xiangmei's limbs, and answered. Zhang Zueji's crisp voice. "Captain Xiang, 15 minutes to wash up. Military police armored vehicle is waiting at the main gate." Zhou Xiangmei whined. "Handsome, come back." Xiang rubbed his aching lower back. "A bar fight? This serious?" Coldly, "This isn't about the fight. The Science Academy needs our fittest operative for an experiment. After seeing your heroism and stamina, last night I recommended you. Orders are signed." Xiang knew revenge. "I'm still on leave." She laughed sweetly. "Leave ends when there's a mission. A soldier belongs to the state 24 hours a day." He wanted to strangle her. "I was brave last night for you. Don't pretend you don't know." Zhou Xiangmei crawled naked from the covers. "Who are you talking to?" Xiang hushed her. Silence on the line. Then softly, "You're lying." Xiang covered Zhou Xiangmei's mouth. "Why would I lie? I think of you day and night. I just never said it." "Enough." Zhang cut in. "We'll talk later. Be the guinea pig one day. Next time I'll pick someone else. Get dressed." Click. The armored vehicle stopped at the heavily guarded Science Academy. For MPs marched Xiang inside like a prisoner. After a full checkup, a nurse wheeled him deeper. "I'm not sick. I can walk." The nurse smiled down. "Be good. I know you're stronger than an ox." Lust stirred. "What's your name? How do I find you?" She rolled her eyes, said nothing. Gate after gate opened until an elevator. 8 guards waited. A chill ran through him. Why was the lab in a dungeon? The elevator dropped 10 stories. They wheeled him into a vast hall 30 meters high. At the far end loomed a gigantic metal furnace. Instruments everywhere like a spaceship interior. 100 white-coated researchers worked consoles. Above, behind glass, more watched and pointed at him. Dr. Fang Ting and Dr. Xie Jimin approached. "I'm Dr. Fang. This is Dr. Xie. Assistants to Director Ma Ku, Chief of the Spacetime Project." Xiang sprang up. "What is this? Tell me what I'm here for." Dr. Xie. Stern. "Relax. Everything is safe. Director Ma will explain." Dr. Fang. "A soldier serves the country. You should feel honored to be the first human subject." Xiang followed helplessly toward the furnace, thinking, what rotten luck. Inside a human-shaped metal casing, hands, feet, waist, neck clamped, Xiang cursed Zhang Zueji silently. A white-haired man in glasses appeared above. "I'm Director Ma Ku. How do you feel, Captain Xiang?" "Like livestock headed to slaughter. Pig or cow, I don't know." Director Ma laughed dryly. "You have humor. Then, which period of our history do you know best? What does that have to do with it? Answer first." Xiang sighed. "Not much history, but I saw the first emperor, envied his palace, his lifestyle. Read some books on the warring states and Qin Shi Huang." "Enough. Great Qin Empire. First year of King Zheng's reign, 246 BC. He repeated it into his collar intercom. Xiang stared. "What are you talking about?" Director Ma's face glowed. He patted Xiang's cheek. "You are about to become the first human to travel to the past." Xiang struggled. "Stop joking. What is this experiment?" "No joke. You've seen the time tunnel? Before you is a real time tunnel. Soon we will change all concepts of space and time. Xiang couldn't see it. Tell me exactly. In moments, you'll enter the time furnace. I press a button. The hydrogen fusion reactor builds energy for 36 hours, creates an energy black hole, tears space-time. The magnetic transporter sends you to the pre-common era world. Wonderful, isn't it? Cold sweat broke out. You're serious? Of course. 12 mice, 2 monkeys, sent back and returned safely. But they can't describe it. That's why the military supplies its fittest warrior. I do not consent. I resign. Don't panic. You'll stay less than 10 seconds like a dream. Just remember it. Proceed with injection. Xiang protested as the needle went in. Consciousness blurred. The lid closed. The synthetic metal box rolled along the conveyor into the spiraling furnace entrance and vanished. Instruments flared. 400 researchers watched intently. Time passed. Director Ma grew excited. Countdown began. 60, 59. Alarm blared. Energy levels climbing abnormally. Director, shut down power. 48. All eyes on Ma. 39. He stared at the insane readings, sweat beading, then waved defeat. Emergency measure 5. Execute. Thunderous muffled boom. The lab shook. Blinding white light burst. The furnace ruptured. The entire underground facility disintegrated into molecules. No one survived. When Xiang woke in agony, falling from the sky, crashed through a tiled roof onto a man. Bones snapped. A woman screamed, naked back fleeing the room. Then darkness. Days passed in haze. A woman cared for him. Wiped his body, changed clothes, dressed wounds, fed goat's milk. One night he woke fully. He lay on thick floor mats, dim oil lamp, mud walls, tiled roof, straw raincoat, primitive cooking tools, bronze mirror. Ancient. Footsteps. The wooden door opened. A beautiful woman in coarse ancient linen entered. Red scarf, braided hair, jar in hands, straw sandals. Delicate features, slender figure. She saw him awake, jumped, nearly dropped the jar, knelt, touched his forehead, spoke joyfully in melodious dialect. Xiang thought, I'm screwed, and fainted. Sunlight woke him. Empty room, strength returning. He crawled from the quilt, wearing ill-fitting ancient robes, hideous short pants. Roof freshly repaired. He remembered crushing a man. He stood, dizzy, leaned at the window. Pure blue sky, clean white clouds, no pollution. He knew he had truly traveled back. Burns healing. Curiosity rose. What world is this? Will I meet Qin Shi Huang? He stepped outside. Quiet valley. Stream behind the house. Mulberry grove left. Singing from the stream right. He followed the song. Plain white dress. Skirt tied up. Long legs bare. Squatting washing clothes. Humming. He walked toward her. Unsteady. Slipped. Splashed into the stream. The beauty was startled and rushed into the water to help him. Xiang emerged from the chest-deep water just as she arrived. She took his arm and draped it over her shoulder. Xiang leaned close, felt warmth and fragrance. She spoke fear and concern. Thank you, Mississippi. She froze. Where are you from? Soaked, her thin clothes translucent. His gaze burned. She blushed, helped him ashore. He played weak longer. She didn't object. Dry clothes again. They sat opposite on mats, eating millet, bitter vegetables, mutton, spiced preserved meat. Everything delicious. She watched him with interest. He asked her name through trial and error. People of Mulberry Forest Village call me Mei Sanyang. They laughed. He introduced himself. Conversation grew easier. He understood 80%. He asked about the day he fell. Her face flushed. The man you crushed was Tyrant Jiao. He followed me from market. Meant to defile me. You fell from heaven and killed him. I buried him in the mulberry grove. Ears red, head lowered. I was married to 2 brothers, conscripted and killed at Chongping. Battle of Chongping, 260 BC. 9 years ago, 251 BC now. Close to the target year. Where is this? Mulberry Forest Village. In Zhao. She shook her head, confused. You really married 2 husbands at once? Of course. He sidestepped. Children. Sadness. Child died of illness after fathers left. Later I learned silkworms. Life stable. Pity surged. She whispered, every day I prayed for a husband. Heavens sent you. From now on you are Sanyang's husband. Dumbstruck but convenient. Idea sparked. 251 BC. Young Qin Huang is still in Handan, down on his luck. Find him, partner up, when he becomes emperor I rise too. Do you know the way to Handan? She paled, bit her lip. You want to leave? He crawled behind, hugged her gently. Don't fear. Wherever I go, I take you. She melted, delighted. Really? Of course. She trembled, never known such tenderness. Tomorrow market, we can ask. His hand slipped inside her collar. Did Zhao do? She gasped. He was about to. Oh! He kissed her. Passion filled the room. For the first time, lonely mate Sanyang tasted true mutual joy. A mulberry leaf tickled his nose. He sneezed awake. Dawn not yet broken. He pulled her close, kissed her moist lips. She made muffled happy sounds. He moved further. She moaned, Xiaolong, we must go to market. He stopped, threatened playfully. Dare be naughty again? She smiled. I dare, but not now, or we eat nothing today. He remembered last night's charm. Heart swayed, but remembered Qin Shi Huang. They rose. She brought clothes she'd sewn while he was unconscious. Perfect fit. Sanyang never thought a man could be so handsome. She tied his long hair. After washing up, they hit the road. Xiang shouldered raw silk bundle, woodcutter's knife in belt, straw sandals. They stepped into the world of 2,000 years past. Pre-dawn mountain path. Xiang felt unprecedented affection. He put an arm around her, ran effortlessly. She screamed in astonishment, then accepted. Heaven sent. How did you marry those brothers? Your family? Her face red. 3 days east. They brought tiger skin, bear skin, marten skins, cows, sheep, richest dowry ever. I was 14. He carried her across a stream. 14? Not even legal age. Sunrise on the main road. Intimate, happy. Journey once 10 hours, now 4. Thanks to new troop road. War builds roads, stimulates economy. Xiang mused. If I had a gun, I'd be richest mercenary. He thought of Zhou Xiangmei, Zhang Zuiji, his parents. Felt sudden ache. Mule cart passed, then armed escorts on horseback, mercenary warriors. Mate Sanyang whispered, escorts, profitable work. Xiang laughed. Finally a job for me. She screamed, no, I can't lose another husband. He comforted her. Road grew crowded, carts of grain, livestock. All stared at his height. He felt like a crane among chickens. Half an hour later they reached the market. 40 mud houses, thatched huts along a half-mile dirt street, bustling with buyers, sellers, livestock. Stepping into the market, mate Sanyang whispered fearfully, left, Jiaodu's brothers, staring at us. A dozen burly thugs glared in shock. They think I'm Jiaodu's woman now. Bad. Let's leave. Xiang assessed their crude iron swords, smiled dashingly. Don't panic, wifey. With your husband here, no one touches a hair on your head. She pulled him into the crowd, pale and terrified, while he observed the ancient world with open fascination. The only exception was the men and women wearing peculiar red hats. Their hats didn't cover the whole head but were crowns looped over a bun, securing the hair, with red tassels hanging down the sides and tied under the chin. These people were tall and fit. The women were fair-skinned, wearing short jackets and skirts that exposed their arms and chests, looking extremely sexy. It was an eye-opener for him, shattering the impression that ancient people were always conservative. A few young women among them were particularly outstanding, their beauty rivaling mate Sanyang's. They sold nothing but horses. When Xiang Xiaolong paid his respects with his eyes to the most stunning girl among them, the beauties all cast flirtatious glances at this tall man from another time, not minding his gaze on their semi-exposed bodies at all. Mei Sanyang felt safer squeezed in the crowd. Seeing his lecherous look, she didn't mind at all and whispered, "They are the White D people. They are experts at raising horses. Both men and women are excellent hunters. No one dares to bully them." Xiang Xiaolong was intrigued, but Mei Sanyang pulled him into a mud house to trade the raw silk on his shoulder with the man inside. Xiang Xiaolong took the opportunity to slip out. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of a gong rang out in front of the largest stone house opposite. Someone shouted, "Top-grade horse, 30 bronze coins. Top-grade horse, 30 bronze coins." Xiang Xiaolong looked over curiously. On the steps of the large house stood over a dozen burly men in warrior garb identical to the riders on the road. Among them was a man with a tall hat and luxurious clothes, vastly different from the rough farmers on the street. Though Xiang had good eyesight, at a distance of over 10 meters, he could only see that the man had a square face and large ears, looking dignified and wealthy. The market erupted into commotion as horse traders swarmed over with their horses. Just then, a cold snort came from his side. Xiang Xiaolong looked over alertly and realized he was surrounded by Zhao Du's thug brothers. Unflustered, he took 2 steps back, shielding Mei Sanyang, who was just coming out, behind him in the doorway. He whispered, "Does one go to jail for killing people here?" Mei Sanyang asked, stunned. "What is jail?" Xiang Xiaolong rephrased. "Does anyone care if you kill someone?" Mei Sanyang nodded in understanding. "Except for one's own tribe, no one will care." Then she trembled. "You aren't going to fight so many people, are you? They all have swords. We can give them the money we just got." Xiang Xiaolong relaxed. He thought to himself that in this era, nothing was more useful than force. His rigorous training wouldn't go to waste. One of the thugs shouted, "Mei Sanyang, where is Big Brother Zhao? Who is this smelly guy?" People on the street noticed the dispute and gathered around to watch the commotion. The richly dressed man buying horses and his men stopped their business and looked over. Xiang Xiaolong, accustomed to brawls, felt his excitement rise. He laughed at the sky. "Your big brother Zhao was slaughtered by yours truly. If you want revenge, come and get it." Mei Sanyang trembled with fear, hugging him tight from behind. The thugs' faces changed color. With a clatter, they drew their swords. Xiang Xiaolong leisurely pushed Mei Sanyang aside, pulled the woodcutter's knife from his belt, and immediately drew sighs of sympathy from the onlookers who blamed him for overestimating himself by blocking swords with a wood knife. 2 large men rushed at him, raising their swords to slash wildly from left and right. Screams rang out. Even the White D beauty who had been making eyes at Xiang Xiaolong covered her eyes, unable to watch. Xiang Xiaolong shouted, his knife flashing out. In his nearly 10 years of strict military training, one skill was using whatever was at hand as a weapon. Though these 2 thugs were fierce, in his eyes, they were nothing. He could have easily taken them down barehanded, let alone with a knife. Clang, clang. The long swords were knocked aside. Xiang Xiaolong lunged forward, smashing his left fist into one man's face and flying, kicking the other in the gut. Both men fell instantly, dropping their swords. Xiang Xiaolong retreated to Mei Sanyang, pointed his knife forward in a combat stance, and shouted at the panicked thugs, "Come on!" Though the thugs were restless, none dared to lead the charge. They had never imagined such agile and ruthless fighting. Xiang Xiaolong laughed long and hard, pouncing like a tiger. With his knife slashing, he engaged the 20-plus thugs. He moved rapidly, preventing the enemy from encircling him. Moments later, thugs littered the ground, either hit in vital spots by his iron fists or struck by his kicks and knees. The crowd cheered him on, evidently having had enough of this gang's bullying. When Xiang Xiaolong emerged as the victor, he picked up the most decent-looking iron sword from the ground and tied it to his waist. With a shout, a few people from the crowd rushed out, followed by the whole mob. Picking up sticks or hose, they attacked the thugs lying on the ground. It seemed that, under public wrath, none of them would survive. Mei Sanyang threw herself at him, hugging him tightly. She cheered, "Old Lord of Heaven, You really are a god descended to earth. I will never fear bullies again." Xiang Xiaolong walked with her toward the other end of the street, asking casually, "Do you know how to get to Handan?" Maid Sanyang said, "Some have heard of the place, but don't know how to get there." Footsteps sounded behind them. Someone called out, "Warrior, please hold." Xiang Xiaolong turned around. The tall-hatted man in luxurious clothes who had been buying horses was walking toward them. Xiang Xiaolong, Maid Sanyang, and the richly dressed man sat on the floor inside a large house. Xiang Xiaolong observed the man closely, guessing him to be around 40. His face gave an impression of shrewdness, and his skin was smooth, clearly never having done hard labor. Compared to the farmers in the market, the difference was like that between a city tycoon and a poor peasant. The man introduced himself. "I am Tao Fong, one of the 12 head stewards under Master Wu Shiluo. Warrior, your accent is strange. May I ask where you are from?" Xiang Xiaolong bluffed. "My wife and I are both from Mulberry Forest. Master Tao invited me here. How can I be of service?" Tao Fong looked blank, evidently not understanding his phrasing, only guessing about half of it. Fortunately, he was used to dealing with different tribes. He nodded. "Is the warrior interested in making a large sum of money?" Xiang Xiaolong looked at Maid Sanyang. She gave him a sweet smile and nodded, indicating he should decide everything. She had no opinion. To her, a man's word was law. Xiang Xiaolong felt a sense of relief at being free from military discipline to act as he pleased. He nodded. "Please enlighten me, Master Tao." Tao Fong leaned forward excitedly. "With your amazing skills, warrior, you are truly worth 100 men. If you are willing to be my bodyguard, I can give you 50 bronze coins a month. What do you say?" Maid Sanyang cried out, "Ah!" holding his arm and shouting, "That's enough for us to live on for a year." Xiang Xiaolong kissed her cheek and replied, "The conditions are attractive, but we still need to go to Handan." A smile escaped the corner of Tao Fong's mouth. He said faintly, "Warrior Xiang must not have heard of our Master Wu's prestige. He is the livestock king of Handan. After we collect enough horses from various places, we ship them to Handan. If you become my bodyguard, it kills 2 birds with 1 stone." Xiang Xiaolong was overjoyed. "But I need to bring her with me." Tao Fong looked at Maid Sanyang and laughed. "Besides buying strong horses, we also select beauties from the mountains. So, taking a beauty with you is no problem at all." He frowned at Xiang's clothes. "I'll have someone clean up a place for you and your wife to rest. Change into new clothes. We leave for Handan at dawn tomorrow. Warrior, what weapon are you used to? If it's a sword, I'll immediately give you a fine sword forged by Old Tai of Handan. You can throw away the one you picked up." Xiang Xiaolong laughed involuntarily. He asked, "How long does it take to get to Handan?" Tao Fong clearly appreciated him greatly and explained in detail. 10 days by fast horse. But the way we travel, buying horses and beauties along the way, it's at least a month's journey." Xiang Xiaolong was in a great mood, thinking he could find Huang in Handan. He hurriedly said there was no problem. The matter was settled. Tao Fong sent someone to lead him to a camp near the market. The guide was Li Shan, also a bodyguard, who admired Xiang's skills immensely and was extremely respectful. The camp was heavily guarded. Over 30 tents, large and small, were guarded, presumably to prevent the beauties from escaping or to stop raids. Beside the camp was a temporary corral where over 100 horses were kept. Li Shan introduced Xiang Xiaolong to the head bodyguard, Do Liang. This fierce-looking warrior looked him over coldly for a moment, then said disdainfully, "Brother Xiang is so capable. I'd like to learn from you if there's a chance." After speaking, he leered at Maid Sanyang, ignoring Xiang Xiaolong's existence. Li Shan awkwardly led the two to a tent near the edge of the camp and left after a few instructions. The two entered the tent. Maid Sanyang lowered her head in silence, her heart heavy. Xiang Xiaolong pulled her into his arms and said softly, "Don't be afraid of Do Liang. Sooner or later, I'll find a chance to teach him a lesson. I, Xiang Xiaolong, fear no villain." After saying this, He couldn't help but think of the black-faced deity. Mate Sanyang whispered, "City people are very treacherous. I'm afraid I won't get used to that life." Xiang Xiaolong thought to himself that modern people were 100 times worse than ancient ones. He comforted her. "With me protecting you, what is there to fear?" Mate Sanyang's eyes reddened. She fell into his arms and said sorrowfully, "The people in Mulberry Forest Village are good people. Life is abundant and gets better every year. Now that Zhao Du and those villains are dead, it's a paradise. Husband, why don't we go back there to live happy until we die of old age? I will bear your children. Isn't that better?" Xiang Xiaolong sighed inwardly. Used to a life of indulgence, how could he get used to that lifestyle? He said gently, "How about this? I'll borrow 100 bronze coins from Tao Fong. That should be enough for you to live for 2 years. I will go to Handan to make my mark. When I have achieved success, I will come back to get you. Isn't that the best of both worlds?" Mate Sanyang trembled, asking in panic, "Doesn't that mean separating from you?" Xiang Xiaolong said, "A few months at the earliest, a year or 2 at the latest. I will definitely come back. Don't forget, I was sent by the old Lord of Heaven, so I will never die." Mate Sanyang burst into tears, leaving Xiang Xiaolong at a loss. But she steeled her resolve and tearfully agreed. Thinking of their imminent parting, they made love madly in the tent until dinner time. They left the tent to dine with Tao Fong. When Xiang mentioned an advance on his salary, Tao Fong didn't say a word and took out 200 bronze coins to give to him. His generosity won Xiang Xiaolong over. The head bodyguard, Do Liang, was even more jealous. Tao Fong casually asked about Xiang Xiaolong's background. Xiang Xiaolong insisted he was from Mulberry Forest Village, and Tao Fong didn't pry. The next morning, after a tearful goodbye, Mate Sanyang went back to Mulberry Forest Village alone. Xiang Xiaolong followed Tao Fong's caravan toward the capital of the state of Zhao, a place he knew nothing about, embarking on his journey to find Qin Shi Huang. Less than 2 hours into the journey, it suddenly began to pour. Over 100 warriors donned bamboo hats and straw raincoats. 12 carriages and nearly 200 fine horses marched mightily along the official road in the rain. Xiang Xiaolong's heart was with Mate Sanyang. Remembering her tearful eyes at parting, he felt a knot in his chest and had the urge to turn his horse around several times. But remembering the 200 coins he took from Tao Fong, he stopped himself. Was he a man without honor? He had to be his bodyguard for at least a few months to do right by him. Pest! Xiang Xiaolong jumped. Amidst shaking branches, a white D-girl wearing a short jacket exposing her arms and a short skirt revealing a pair of round thighs jumped out. It was the most beautiful white D-girl he had seen at the market. She came up to him excitedly, looked up and said, "I've been tracking you for 2 days and 2 nights." She grabbed his hand and said nervously, "Run, quickly!" Xiang Xiaolong pulled her into his arms instead. The white D-girl responded passionately, wrapping her arms around his thick neck without a hint of fear or shyness. Xiang Xiaolong increasingly believed that women of this era, upon meeting a man they liked, were more direct than women of the 21st century and less coy. His mood improved. The white D-girl's pretty face flushed a moving red. She said urgently, "My name is Xiao Yi. Come back to White D Mountain with me. If you follow those Zhao people to Handan, you will surely be killed by Greybeard and his bandits." Hearing her voice like an oriole leaving the valley and feeling her full body, Xiang Xiaolong was intoxicated. Suddenly, he started, "What are you saying?" In fact, he only understood 30 or 40% of her words. Xiaoyi slowed down, enunciating word by word. "A few days ago, our tribe received news. Greybeard and his 800 horse thieves planned to ambush the Zhao people at Striking Stone Valley to steal their women and horses. If you go, you will definitely be killed. They are much more dangerous than Zhao Du's men." Xiang Xiaolong finally understood. He laughed. "I have my own way to deal with them." Xiaoyi giggled. "I guessed you wouldn't abandon your friends to save yourself. I won't force you. But since Xiaoyi gave you such useful intelligence, how will you reward me?" Xiang Xiaolong smiled wryly. "Anything except bronze coins." Xiao Yi broke out of his embrace, spun a circle in front of him, and laughed charmingly. Everyone says I am beautiful. Do you agree? I still don't know your name. Xiang Xiaolong stared straight at her, his worries dissolving. I am Xiang Xiaolong. Xiao Yi murmured the name a few times. Suddenly, she loosened her clothes, revealing a snow-white body that would dazzle any man. She smiled. Is this even more beautiful? The men of the tribe all love to look at my body. Xiang Xiaolong was meeting such a girl for the first time. He took a deep breath and said to her, "Come here." Xiao Yi threw herself into his arms, undressing him. Usually, men beg me. Today I am begging you. Come, lover. I haven't been home for 2 days. If you don't come out, I was going to go into the camp to find you. Xiang Xiaolong returned to the camp, found Tao Fong, pulled him aside, and told him everything that had just happened without holding back. Tao Fong's face became very grave. After a long while, he put a hand on Xiang's shoulder. You have saved my life this time. The biggest headache now isn't the horse thieves, but that there is a traitor among my men. Xiang Xiaolong nodded. Your route to Handan must be highly classified. Few people know it. So if Greybeard knows you will pass through Striking Stone Valley, it must be because a traitor provided him with the information. Tao Fong was amazed by his quick mind. He praised, I really didn't misjudge you. Not only are you handsome and unique in appearance, but you possess both wisdom and courage. Good. As long as I, Tao Fong, hold power, I will not mistreat you. Xiang Xiaolong laughed inwardly. Those words would sound about right coming from Qin Shi Huang. Tao Fong pondered for a moment. The traitor must be Do Liang. 2 reasons make me certain. First, he left the team for 2 days on an excuse. He must have gone to meet Greybeard. Second, among the few who know our route, only he is a Wei native. Wei people are the most unreliable. Xiang Xiaolong asked, if Wei people are unreliable, why do you employ him? Tao Fong explained, Xiaolong, you have lived in the mountains for a long time, so naturally you don't understand the situation in the Central Plains. Xiang Xiaolong asked humbly, I really want to know. Tao Fong said, it starts with the partition of Jin. That was the watershed for the entire era. Before that, they talked of honoring the king and expelling barbarians. After Jin was divided, it became Wei, Han, and our state of Zhao. No one takes the house of Zhou seriously anymore. If the situation before was a calm river, now it is a raging torrent. The changes in 10 years are worth 100 years of the past. Those without ability will be eliminated. He finished with a sigh. Xiang Xiaolong hadn't expected a horse trader to be so knowledgeable. He really wanted to tell him that no matter how they struggled, eventually Qin Shi Huang would unite everything. But of course, he couldn't say that, and no one would believe him if he did. He asked tentatively, is Qin the most powerful state now? Tao Fong looked at him in surprise and said slowly, since Qin implemented the reforms of the Wei noble Gong Sun Yang, Shang Yang, they have indeed become rich and powerful. 5 years ago, they even breached the house of Zhou. But they also provoked public anger. They were defeated by our generals Yu Chang and Qing Shi. 3 years ago, Wei captured Qin's important eastern stronghold, Tao Commandery. Qin's momentum is not what it used to be. Clearly preoccupied with the traitor, he lost interest in the topic. Xiaolong, I want you to get rid of this traitor Do Liang for me. Xiang Xiaolong patted his chest. Leave it to me, but if I kill the wrong person, it would grieve our friends and gladden our enemies. Tao Fong sneered. You are new. Do Liang hasn't figured you out yet. You can test him with words. I guarantee he will take the bait. Xiang Xiaolong secretly admired the plan. He nodded in agreement. Tao Fong trusted him completely now. All Wei people are killable. I only recently learned he was from Wei and planned to never use him again after this mission. Who knew he would strike first? He took an exquisite dagger in a sheath from his robe and handed it to Xiang Xiaolong. Be clean about it. Afterward, I will tell people I sent him elsewhere on business. This dagger comes from a master swordsmith in you. Can cut a hair just by blowing on it. I give it to you. Let it drink the blood of the Wei thief. Xiang Xiaolong felt a chill hearing him talk about murder as if chatting about the weather. However, his training had taught him to kill. As long as it was bad guys, it was fine. So he didn't feel too bad. Tao Feng continued. The Wei people occupied our capital Handan for 2 years. It was only thanks to Qi's intervention that the Wei were forced to withdraw. But many Wei people remained in Handan, acting as running dogs and spies. Dou Liang is exactly this kind of person. Show no mercy when you strike. Xiang Xiaolong returned to the camp. Other warriors were respectful toward him. The sun set, and darkness covered the earth. From a corner of the camp came the sound of women giggling. Since he had to find Dou Liang anyway, Xiang Xiaolong walked over to take a look. He was immediately dumbfounded. The small river was full of naked women bathing and playing in the water. Mother of God, why are ancient women bolder than Western girls on the beaches of Cannes or Miami? Several warriors stood by the river admiring the boundless spring scenery. One of them was Li Shan, who smiled and greeted him. The quality of this batch of girls is very good. Brother Xiang, do you want to ask Master Tao for 2 to play with? He thinks highly of you. Xiang Xiaolong asked, puzzled. Where do so many lovely girls come from? Don't they feel that being sold like goods is miserable? Li Shan asked in surprise. Isn't Brother Xiang from the mountains? If women aren't goods, what are they? If they are sold to a poor remote area where one woman has to service a dozen men in a family, that is miserable. Now they can go to the city. If they are lucky and get chosen by a wealthy family, wearing gold and silver, how glorious that would be. Xiang Xiaolong, though a playboy, had always respected women. It was hard to accept this attitude. He dropped the subject and asked, Where is Dou Liang? Li Shan smiled wickedly. Relying on being the boss, he just picked the most beautiful girl and went into his tent. What do you think he's doing? Xiang Xiaolong felt angry. He asked for the location of the tent and walked over. From a distance, he heard a man's panting and a woman's soft moans. Xiang Xiaolong guessed he would come out for dinner. He waited nearby. Sure enough, after a good while, the woman left first, her clothes disheveled. Then Dou Liang lifted the tent flap and came out. Xiang Xiaolong walked toward him. Passing him, he said faintly, If you have the guts, follow me alone. Dou Liang gave a sinister smile and chased him straight out of the camp. Inside a dense forest, Xiang Xiaolong turned around. Taking the opportunity to hide the dagger behind his back, he said respectfully, Big Brother Dou, I was sent by Greybeard to assist you. Dou Liang, hand already on his sword hilt, froze and stared at him, uncertain and surprised. Xiang Xiaolong laughed inwardly and continued, The plan has changed. Greybeard decided not to strike at Striking Stone Valley. He told me to inform Big Brother Dou. Hearing the name Striking Stone Valley, Dou Liang finally took the bait. He raged, What tricks is Greybeard playing? If not Striking Stone Valley, what better place is there? Xiang Xiaolong leaned in and whispered, It is at. Dou Liang shouted, Stand there and speak. Xiang Xiaolong drew his long sword and threw it aside, smiling bitterly. Big Brother Dou is too suspicious. Seeing him draw his sword, Dou Liang had drawn his to meet him. Seeing him discard it, he breathed a sigh of relief, sheathed his sword, and his expression softened slightly. That old fox Tao Feng is quite formidable. I can't be too careful. Xiang Xiaolong suddenly stared behind him, looking terrified. Dou Liang naturally turned his head to look back. Seeing no one there, he knew he had been tricked. His neck felt cold as Xiang Xiaolong's dagger plunged in. Blood gushed from the artery and he died on the spot. Xiang Xiaolong approached the corpse inside. When it comes to killing, who can be better than me? A special forces soldier proficient in anatomy? Xiang Xiaolong returned to the camp. Except for the warriors on patrol, everyone had gathered in the open space in the center of the camp, sitting in over 20 circles. The women occupied nearly 10 of them. A bonfire dinner was being held. The food was very rich. Perhaps this alone was enough to make those women willing to be goods. He walked over to sit beside Tao Feng and raised 2 fingers in a V sign, indicating he had taken care of Dou Liang. Tao Feng naturally didn't understand the gesture, but seeing his high spirits, he knew he had succeeded. He praised him inwardly. This kid didn't change color after killing someone. He was truly a first-class assassin and killer. He said, "Xiaolong, go check out the women's tables. If anyone catches your eye, take a few into your tent for fun. Don't be shy." Xiaolong thought, why would I be shy? But his body wasn't made of iron. Having just been with that insatiable white D-girl, he didn't have the energy to handle more women. So he leaned into Tao Feng's ear and said, "Master Tao, are you interested in traveling through the night? Let the enemy spies wake up tomorrow morning to find our entire camp gone." That night, Tao Feng had the horse's hooves and carriage wheels wrapped in soft cloth. Leaving behind part of the empty camp and straw dummies, they set off in the dark. They marched in one breath until dawn, hiding in a small valley to set up camp and rest. Xiaolong fell asleep in his private tent. He was now the head of the bodyguards. When he woke up, he found a beautiful woman in his tent. The graceful beauty knelt on the ground, her forehead touching the mat, and whispered, "This lowly woman is Ting Fengshi. By Master Tao's order, I am here to serve Master Xiang on the journey." Xiaolong praised Tao Feng's eye and decided to enjoy playing the master. "Sit up." Ting Fengshi sat up straight, her moving curves filling Xiaolong's eyes. Took a good while for Xiaolong to move his gaze upward. He immediately recognized her as the beauty Do Liang had called into his tent yesterday. Remembering her gasps and moans, his heart swayed, secretly hating that Do Liang knew how to pick them. He smiled, sat up, reached out to pat her cheek, and said softly, "Who could bear to sell you?" Ting Fengshi lowered her head and said softly, "It was this lowly woman's husband." Xiaolong exclaimed, "What? There is a man who understands so little of cherishing beauty." Ting Fengshi giggled, covering her small mouth. "Master Xiang speaks so interestingly, different from everyone else." Xiaolong thought, of course it's different. I'm from a different era. Aloud he said, "Was he impotent?" Ting Fengshi was stunned. "What is impotent?" Xiaolong explained patiently, "It means a man who doesn't have the ability to perform in bed with a woman." Ting Fengshi finally understood and shook her head. "It wasn't because of that. It was because he already had over 10 wives. They ostracized this lowly woman and slandered me behind my back, saying I loved to use my eyes to seduce other men. So he sold me." Xiaolong realized. It was a case of a tragic beauty. Her looks incited the jealousy of the wicked wives. He asked lightly, "Then did you seduce men?" Then she smiled gracefully. "Master Xiang is different from other men." As soon as they saw this lowly woman, they rushed to take off their clothes and pounce. "Only Master Xiang talks to me like this. This lowly woman is very grateful." Xiaolong felt great pity. Women of this era had hard lives, like rootless duckweed, their fate entirely controlled by men. His interest waned instantly, and the lust that had risen vanished without a trace. He stood up. "There seems to be a clear stream to the east. I want to take a cold bath there." Ting Fengshi didn't understand his words. After he explained again, she hurriedly stood up. "Let me serve Master Xiang in the bath," she whispered. "That is this lowly woman's greatest honor." The two stood naked in the waist-deep clear stream. Ting Fengshi poured water over him and scrubbed him. It felt so good Xiaolong almost cried out for his mother. A blush rose on her pretty cheeks, her eyes shining as she admired his strong muscles. Her slender hands couldn't bear to leave him, reaching from his back to his chest, gently stroking his chest, which was broader than the average man's. It was her first time meeting such a handsome man, and she couldn't help but feel aroused. While Xiaolong immersed himself in the barrier-free contact with this beauty, his mind was filled with mixed feelings about the unfair status of men and women in this era. Suddenly, Tao Feng's voice rang out from the bank. "If Xiaolong is satisfied with this woman, let her be yours from now on." Ting Fengshi cried out, "Ah! Enjoy. To be the concubine or servant of this man, she would be willing even in death." Xiang Xiaolong knew this was Tao Feng's way of winning him over. After thanking him, he asked, "Any news from the scouts?" Tao Feng's gaze patrolled Ting Fengshi's moving body. When he bought her, he had personally inspected her entire body, so he knew how smooth and elastic her skin was. He felt it deeply now. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said, "Xiaolong guessed right. 3 thieves were tracking us. They have been killed. We should have shaken off Greybeard for now. But we cannot be careless. Horse thieves are experts at tracking, and we are moving slowly. Sooner or later, they will catch up." In his military career, Xiang Xiaolong was used to bathing with teammates, so being seen by Tao Feng didn't bother him. However, letting Tao Feng admire Ting Fengshe like this felt like a loss. He said, "After eating, we set off immediately to see how much ground we can cover. Give me 10 men. I will completely wipe out the tracks of the carts and horses and create some false trails to lead the thieves astray." Tao Feng had more and more confidence in him. He nodded. "This matter relies entirely on you. Enjoy yourself." He left happily. Ting Fengshe turned to him, hugging him. "Master Xiang, from now on, I am yours." Xiang Xiaolong hugged her back. But in his mind, he was thinking of his own time. Was this just a space-time dream? Would he wake up to find himself still sleeping in his dorm bed?